Game over.
Hey, hi, hello, welcome to Movie Deathmatch Beatdown, where I talk about movies while playing multiplayer. I'm going to be talking about Tim Burton's movie Big Eyes while playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I'll be playing the game really bad, I'll try to be reviewing the movie really good. Just like the entire movie that's Big Eyes, because it's a fantastic little movie. Though not Tim Burton at all, apart from the subject matter. Of which being, it's about this artist called Margaret Keane, who in the 50s and 60s painted these rather entrancing paintings of children with massive eyes, big eyes as the title correctly describes. But how she didn't really get credit for it in that time. All of the credit going to her husband, who essentially stole her work, put his own signature on and passed it off as all his own, when really he was a hack who couldn't paint at all and just used his charms and charisma to win people over. And he was a great salesman, and he could sell himself better than his wife could, and ultimately that was part of his downfall. It's really well made, even though it doesn't feel like a Tim Burton movie. It's still got some visual cues about him. About like 5 minutes of the entire film is Tim Burton. The rest could be done by anyone else, but it just happens to be done by him, and it happens to be done really, really well. It's a lot on the Big Fish sort of spectrum of films that he's done that are great, but aren't like anything you'd expect him to make. There's no Helena Bonham Carter, there's no Johnny Depp. It's not dark or gothic. Sure, there's some elements in it with the paintings, but this could have been done by anyone else. But I'm very glad it was done by Tim Burton. I'm glad he brought Danny Elfman, of course, to do a fantastic score. Nothing truly memorable, but still fun enough and engaging enough. But even though Amy Adams is fantastic in it as Margaret Keane, and she plays her character fantastically, it's a great exploration of abusive relationships and how the 50s and 60s were very misogynist. Like, women just were put in subservient roles, which is not cool. 50s and 60s, I'm sorry, but the way you treated women was horrible. I mean, we still haven't got to a point where women are treated equally, and that sucks, and I want it to be a lot more equal and awesome. Hopefully in the next, I'd like to say the next year, but men are horrible, and this is a film about how men are really horrible. A lot more so than the 50s and 60s, but we still got problems, yo. Because, yeah, even there's like a sequence where she goes to a confession with a priest and talks about how she's telling lies, she's falling prey to her husband's lies and manipulation. Yet the priest is just like, well, yeah, the husband is the ruler of the house, like, his say is word, and that's not cool. And a lot of the film is like that, and it's a great tale of how she finally becomes the person she has to be, she needs to be, and that is great. But there is like a good chunk of it where she's fallen into this very tragic role of an artist who can never say she's who she is, because no one will believe her, because this very charismatic salesman has stolen her life, and it's her own husband. And that's such a weird story, and it's such a captivating story, and it's presented just so brilliant. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star film. I'd probably give it 4.5 at a stretch. I think it's definitely a 4-star film, maybe 4.5. I am dying a lot in this game. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm getting really passionate about this movie. It's got a lot of good messages. Well, a lot of bad messages, but with good intentions, if that made sense. Because it's totally uncool for the slime ball that is Walter Keane. I was about to say Walter White. You just can't trust Walters in any universe, it seems. Whatever they do. And yeah, Amy Adams is great, but I think the real talking point here is Christoph Waltz, who, until now, I'd say only Quentin Tarantino has been able to get a good performance out of him. Like, you look at any other role that he's done that isn't called Inglourious Basterds or Django Unchained, and he's just not as good as he can be. He doesn't deliver his lines as effectively, he doesn't have that presence about him. But the character of Walter Keane, or the actual real-life person of Walter Keane, just fits Christoph Waltz so perfectly. It's like a perfect piece of casting. And you get that a lot in films of like one actor or actress who just is that character. If you watch Christoph Waltz in interviews or whenever he's winning awards, and he deserves all the awards and the stuff that he does, it's really good. He just has that charismatic air, he's very eloquent, he's got a fantastic vocabulary, he's lovable, all of that. He channels all of that into this character who you fall in love with in ways at the beginning because he's just so awesome and fantastic, and that was overkill, by the way, looking at that. And then you see the sinister side, the manipulative side come out, and it's nuts. It's, why does a man like this exist, and how is he getting away with this? It's crazy, and it's fantastic, and there's so many great themes about this film that are constructed in such a way that makes a nice 100-minute movie. It talks about ambition, it talks about betrayal, love, art, creativity, criticism. Like Terence Stamp is like an art critic in it, and yeah, he's not the best critic in films. Like, he's not Anton Ego from Ratatouille, for example. He's not that important to the film, but there's parts about it that speak so much more for the whole artistic movement of Margaret Keane and how her art was influential. It wasn't masterpieces, it wasn't like Da Vinci or Michelangelo or any of the great artists, and yes, there are a lot of artist names thrown about in this movie, but it's not about making that sort of art. It's about yourself, it's about a part of you as being stolen and sold off in a way that's not yours. It's stealing your children, it's destroying your life because you have to live behind a veil of lies. And that speaks so much about art and film and making stuff and just wanting to be the person you are. And you just got to be true to yourself and not to some 2-bit con man with a wink and a smile. Just keep ownership of your stuff. Don't plagiarize. Don't let people plagiarize you. Be independent. Be strong. That's what Big Eyes is all about, really. And before I fail in a second game of Call of Duty, I think I'll draw that review to a close. Basically, go watch Big Eyes on DVD and Blu-ray, because you probably won't be seeing it around anytime soon, because it's the last day it's been in our local cinema, and unless you've got some art house places or there's like a Take Two Thursdays or whatever special deals that your local cinema might be doing, you won't be seeing this again. I wouldn't say steal it. I think it's worth watching in the cinema. It's worth buying once you can. If it's on VOD, get it. It's definitely a really good Tim Burton movie. It's a sign of him evolving, developing, breaking away from the mold that we've all cast him in. Like, I want to see him make some good stuff with Johnny Depp again. I'm not talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm talking about Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, stuff like that. If they did that again, probably not with Helena Bonham Carter now that they broke up. If you didn't know that, they broke up early in December, which really was a nightmare before Christmas. Oh, and yes, come on Tim Burton, make more movies like this. I will sit down in my seat, I will make the effort to go watch your movies. I love you, man, but until now, I thought you'd lost it. I thought you'd become a hack. I thought you'd become Walter Keane in this cinema. And maybe that's what the film's about, how you find yourself again. How you became the Tim Burton we all knew and loved again, but you've reinvented yourself. You're not sticking to making the same paintings with big eyes. And this is quite a rambly speech to a man who will never watch this video, but I hope everyone else enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time. The next film, probably Birdman, which is going to be another great episode where I'll probably be talking to Michael Keaton a lot. But for now, I'll catch you next time. I think I said that like 5 times.